Look at you over there and me in here doing this thing. Who's better than us? Nobody. Welcome to A Late Show. I'm your host, Stephen Colbert. Before we get started tonight, just a little housekeeping note. Stay back! The gasoline is mine! If you want it, you have to fight me or barter. I will accept gold, sheep, or females. Or female sheep. Because America is in the grip of an old-fashioned post-apocalyptic gas panic. People are lining up all over the East Coast to fill their tanks with the sweet go-go juice. Now, let's be clear. The United States has a lot of gas. All of this stems from Friday's cyber attack that disabled the Colonial Fuel pipeline, leading to temporary shortages and more than 10,000 closed gas stations. Even worse, it made Tesla owners even more insufferable. I only go to the gas station for wiper fluid. Because people freaked out, the pumps are now running dry. In North Carolina alone, 65% of gas stations are without fuel, but they still have plenty of hot dogs going on that little roller ride, last-minute camping jerky, and penis pills called Tiger Stallion Thunder Force X for him. Again, America isn't running out of gas. There's just a supply chain delay. But if the pandemic proved anything, it's that Americans are bored out of their gourd and ready to hoard. Look at this Alabama couple who went viral yesterday for biggie-sizing their gas order. That is insane. You have to stack vertically, okay? Or else it'll tip over, it'll drip, your interior will get gas on it before the entire car blows up. By the way, it's over, right? Yes. The thing's open. The gas pipeline's open, and it's all, thank jokes, right under the wire. People are going so gas crazy, they'll put it in any container they can find, which is why the U.S. Consumer Product Safety Commission had to tweet, "Do not fill plastic bags with gasoline." Of course not. Be environmentally conscious and use a tote bag. Gas isn't the only precious American fluid that's hard to get, because Chick-fil-A is facing a sauce shortage. That is terrible. Now, if customers want dipping sauce with an anti-gay marriage agenda, they'll have to go to Big John's Hetero Beef Hut. Dip your beef. Anyone who's been to Chick-fil-A knows it's all about their little plastic tubs of flavor goop. They got the Garden Herb Ranch, they got the Zesty Buffalo, their Polynesian Breeze, their Fiji Mountain Mist, their Blazing Blast Radius, and their High Endurance Aqua Reef. I forget which of those are sauces and which of those are deodorants, but they all make the chickens sing. To maintain supply, Chick-fil-A is only giving customers one dipping sauce per item. Okay, but I'm sure Americans will take a reasonable approach to this latest, oh God, they're back! Even worse, there may not be enough chicken to sauceify, because America is also in the middle of a chicken shortage. Stay back! Stay back! The chicken is mine! She is my bride, and together we shall rule the land of milk and honey mustard! We're not low on poultry because hackers disrupted the nugget pipeline. No. Chicken manufacturer Tyson Blames underperforming roosters. Give the roosters a break. It's the pandemic, for God's sake. After a long day pecking over Zoom, they just want to throw on some sweatpants, open a bottle of wine, and watch girls five ever. According to a Tyson rep, things should get better soon because, quote, "We're changing out one type of male that, quite frankly, we made a bad decision on." His profile said he was up for a good time, but that good time turned out to be light cuddling. Fellas, that's a cockadoodle don't. There's one thing that there's no shortage of: Republican dislike for Wyoming representative and woman at church bake sale watching her rival win Best in Bunt, Liz Cheney. For the last several months, Cheney has angered conservatives by denying that there was any election fraud and condemning the January 6th Capitol riot. Well, today, the party of Lincoln and the My Pillow guy struck back, ousting her from GOP leadership in the House. They had to. She was a loose cannon. They made her turn in her badge and her gun and her other gun and her other gun. They really like guns. Cheney was ousted via voice vote during a closed-door meeting, so we don't know exactly what happened, but sources in the room say she made a defiant final speech that drew boos from her colleagues. But to be fair, Matt Gaetz boos any woman not wearing braces. In response to a tweet about Cheney's ouster, Montana Congressman Matt Rosendale, and I swear this is real, tweeted a picture of Bush's famous Mission Accomplished banner, which means Liz Cheney will be in power for only 7 more years. Cheney's been an outspoken in her criticism of former president, a man for all treasons. And his big lie that the 2020 election was stolen by digital Democratic Chinese Hugo Chavez zombies. But the real problem for GOP leaders is that Cheney kept inconveniently bringing up the attempted coup, and that angered House Minority Leader and man who can't remember what he walked up to the podium for, Kevin McCarthy. On Monday, McCarthy wrote an anti-Cheney letter to his colleagues explaining, unfortunately, each day spent relitigating the past is one day less. We have to seize the future. This is no time to take our eye off the ball. And McCarthy knows exactly where his balls are, in a jar at Mar-a-Lago. He went on to say about the GOP, we represent Americans of all backgrounds and continue to grow our movement by the day. And unlike the left, we embrace free thought and debate. Yes, not only do they embrace free thought, they hug it tightly and just keep squeezing tighter every time it lets a breath out until you see the light go out of its eyes, and then it just goes limp with freedom. McCarthy added, we are a big tent party. Oh, it's a big tent, all right. There's room for QAnons, Pizzagators, people afraid of Jewish space lasers. Everyone's welcome, except Liz Cheney and gay people and Asian people and black people. But they're going to give them a separate but equal tent. After the vote this morning, Cheney was defiant.
I will do everything I can to ensure that the former president never again gets anywhere near the Oval Office.
And she's serious about it. Today she was seen blocking the door to the Oval Office with a wall of salad. And remember, she said she'll do everything. And she's a Cheney. You've heard the phrase, an angry son of a bitch? She's a pissed-off daughter of a dick. Her principal political patron is a man who was compared to Darth Vader and took it as a compliment. She learned Washington infighting from a man who lived a year with no heartbeat. If I were Kevin McCarthy, I'd grow a beard and dig a spider hole. We got a preview of Cheney's defiance last night when she gave a blunt and impassioned speech on the floor of the House. And keep in mind, her address came right after the Freedom Caucus gave a series of speeches on the House floor railing against what they call cancel culture. Railing against cancel culture right before you cancel someone for holding a different opinion is like shooting a Just Say No commercial, then celebrating by doing a line of coke off of Nancy Reagan's ass. Cheney's not alone. Reportedly, if the GOP doesn't agree to certain changes, tomorrow more than 100 Republicans, including some former elected officials, are preparing to release a letter threatening to form a third party. The letter is being organized by former Homeland Security official and teen eager to manscape as soon as the first hair appears, Miles Taylor.
The message that I would send to Kevin McCarthy right now is he thinks that ousting Liz Cheney from the GOP means an end to the civil war in the GOP. My message to him is the civil war within the GOP is not ending. Today, it is just beginning.
Yes, there's a civil war and it's just beginning. And this time, both sides want the Confederate flag. After the vote, McCarthy denied that the GOP canned Cheney over the election.
I don't think anybody is questioning the legitimacy of the presidential election. I think that is all over with.
Yes, no one is questioning the legitimacy of the presidential election except everyone McCarthy works with, because today Congress also held hearings on the Capitol riot and House Republicans went bat guano crazy. Take Georgia Congressman and star of Ernest Goes to the Gap, Andrew Clyde. Clyde, who was in the room on January 6th as the mob attacked, claimed the whole thing looked harmless.
Watching the TV footage of those who entered the Capitol and walked through Statuary Hall showed people in an orderly fashion staying between the stanchions and ropes taking videos and pictures. You know, if you didn't know the TV footage was a video from January the 6th, you would actually think it was a normal tourist visit.
You know, if that TV footage wasn't of a member of Congress, you'd actually think Clyde was the unwanted child of his mother and a fresh turd. What the hell kind of vacations do you go on, Clyde? When I go to Disney, I rarely see Mickey getting bludgeoned with a fire extinguisher. Then Clyde told America the thing we saw wasn't the thing we all saw.
This is the truth. There was an undisciplined mob. There were some rioters and some who committed acts of vandalism. But let me be clear, there was no insurrection.
That is a sitting member of Congress in session redefining insurrection out of existence. You might as well say, yes, on Tuesday there was some tortillas, ground beef, lettuce, tomato, and cheese, but let's be clear, there was no taco night. He glided on.
As one of the members who stayed in the Capitol and on the House floor, who, with other Republican colleagues, helped barricade the door until almost 3 p.m. that day from the mob who tried to enter, I can tell you, the House floor was never breached, and it was not an insurrection.
Because you barricaded the damn door. That's like saying, Your Honor, as the person who took the axe away from the escaped mental patient, I can tell you there was no murder. What, next you're going to tell me attempted murder is some kind of crime too? Not to be outdumbed, we also heard from South Carolina representative and alien who bought the first clothes he saw in the department store, Ralph Norman. Norman doesn't buy the official version of events.
When I see this sheet on our timeline and on the, let's see, at 2:07, a mob of Trump supporters breached the steps. I don't know who did a poll that is Trump supporters.
Oh, there were plenty of polls, and they all had his flag on them. Also a little awkward that they were all wearing the same hat. Even more awkward, soon they'll all be wearing the same jumpsuit. And we got a great show for you tonight, folks. My guests are Elizabeth Warren and from CBS's SEAL team, David Boreanaz. Stick around.